Good evening. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to my thoughts on Condemned Criminal Origins for the Xbox 360. Condemned is a launch title for the 360. Actually, it came out back in November 2005. It was not my first game. I will say that. It was probably third or fourth game. In case you don't know, it's a survival horror game. And after reading some of the reviews, it is actually, according to them, one of the most terrifying games ever created. Do I agree with that? Hell yeah, that game scared the shit out of me, dude. My nuts fell off after playing it. It was terrifying. But yeah, let's get into it, guys. Alright, going over to story. You know, story. Alright, so story what the fuck? Alright, story. Pretty much you play as this guy named Ethan Thomas. He is a crime scene investigator for the FBI. In the beginning of the game, you're basically investigating you basically have a list of 9 serial killers, and you're on, I think, the 7th one. So he's pretty much already cleared out a bunch of these guys off of his list. So you go investigate this new crime scene left by like the 7th serial killer. So you go there, pretty much shit hits the fan. You end up finding out he's in the building still, so you have to go find him. You and 2 other police officers are like searching or whatever. Although they separate and they leave you behind. they team up and leave you. It's kind of mean. But it's pretty basic. You find him, he ambushes you, he ends up pretty much killing the police with your gun, so you get blamed, and it pretty much sets you up so you have to go on the run from your own agency or whatever. Through there, pretty much you just go through different warehouses, the office buildings, to schoolhouses, the abandoned houses, to sewers. Yeah, you pretty much go everywhere. You end up going to a farm too, which is pretty cool. But throughout the game, you're pretty much investigating this guy who pretty much set you up, and you find out that he's actually a serial killer. He's killing all the serial killers that you're trying to find, and it's a pretty interesting idea. You don't really see that too often, but each of these serial killers are pretty cool. You know, you've got like the matchmaker who basically takes like he'll kill people. I don't know how he kills them, but he basically puts the bodies at a table, and then he'll stick these mannequins all around the table. And I don't know why, but mannequins are for some reason just pretty weird. There's actually a really creepy scene involving mannequins later on. To see more on that, you should look it up. It's pretty hardcore. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really touch too much on it. There wasn't too many characters. Story's pretty basic. You're pretty much trying to clear your name, and they do start adding in like paranormal stuff. Like your character starts having all these visions, and he starts seeing some of these I don't know if they're visions or if they're like I don't know if they're visions of the past or the future, but he does start having visions. You start fighting these enemies that aren't really human, that or they're possessed. I don't really know. They don't really explain it too well. The characters could have used some work. There's only a couple characters. There's like your lab assistant you talk to on the phone throughout the entire game, and then the main bad guy. I guess you kind of talk to one of the bad guys. Oh shit. Yeah, not too many characters, but it's enough, I guess. They could have added a little more. Story I will approve of. It fits this game like not perfectly, but it fits it really well. Going over to gameplay, we've got Condemned is a survival horror, first-person action game, I guess you could say. It's really linear. It's not too linear, but it's pretty linear. You basically get thrown into areas such as, let's say, the sewer level. You pretty much have to explore the sewer while finding basically clues left by the serial killers or whatever that you're trying to track down. And you're basically trying to find find clues that lead you to another area and stuff like that. But the main draw of this game is you're a crime scene investigator, so you have all these tools on you, like these infrared lights that show you like trails on the ground left by blood or fluids, and then you have like a camera that can show you fingerprints. You can there's this other DNA scanner that allows you to see who's who, but a lot of those are just kind of there for story reasons. They don't really help you progress. These fingerprints were left by a serial killer. Hey, whoa, what's he doing here? I like it. It gives you a nice direction. I mean, there aren't any like arrows pointing you in this direction. There's no maps, nothing like that. But let's get into combat, because that's pretty much what you'll be doing most of the game. Alright, so left trigger counters, right trigger swings. Left bumper is your taser, and right bumper switches your gun to a different mode. Alright, so you pretty much pick up weapons throughout the environment. You'll find crowbars, you'll find sledgehammers, you'll find 2x4s, you'll find fireplace pokers, you'll find pipes. There's so many weapons. There's like at least over 50 weapons. There's I think 5 guns. There's a pistol, a revolver, a submachine gun, a rifle, and 2 shotguns. It's 6 I think. Not a bad list of weapons. Each of them play a little bit differently, not too much. But basically, the only draw like distance is they either swing faster or slower. But it's enough to make feel different. So yeah, basically your weapons will break if you use them too much. You basically counter them, you hit them. You use your taser to stun them, you get a free couple hits on them. If your guns run out of ammo, you can switch them over to a melee weapon. There's the crime scene investigation parts. Oh, I gotta touch on this one real quick. The enemies just they're basically crackheads, and they jump out of anywhere. And since you're a police officer, they don't want to be arrested. They'll try to kill you. The thing about this game though is these enemies are the scariest motherfuckers ever. They come out of nowhere, and they do try to kill you. Like hardcore, like they'll jump out of the fucking ceiling at you, they'll climb out of holes behind you, they'll come out of the walls running through it at you, and it's a really intimidating game if you play this game alone. Especially some of the later levels. Let me just say the apple orchid, which is the second to last level, and I think the sewer, those levels pretty much, they made me pause the game and stop playing for like 5 minutes just so I could regain my being, so I wouldn't freak out. I gotta say, this is probably the scariest game I've ever played, which is weird because I played it 6 years ago and it didn't scare me. I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, whatever. Alright, so getting back to what I was gonna touch on, the enemies actually have random spawns. You'll kill them, they'll spawn randomly. They could spawn behind you, they could spawn in the room 3 doors down there. Like it's pretty cool. I think they just keep respawning. I mean, it's not constantly like they're being pumped out or anything, but they do come out pretty often. Like let's say you clear out an entire area, you're lost and you're just exploring the hallways trying to find your door. They could keep coming out, like one every minute probably. Yeah, about a minute, 40 seconds around there. Yeah. It's pretty sweet though, because you'll completely clear an area, they'll come out. Okay, so a gameplay I do approve of. I'm wasting too much time. Alright, so going over to sound. Alright, the game focuses on a creepy sound design. There's barely any music. It's pretty much self-reliant on atmosphere and ambient sound. There are a couple songs that play, but they're usually during cutscenes and stuff. Main menu. Voice acting is pretty average. Main character is voiced by a really awesome actor though. For those who've watched Heroes, Matt Parkman, and for those who don't, his name is Greg Grunberg. He's a pretty badass actor. He was in Lost, he was in Heroes, he was in Alias. Alias? Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. They're pretty good shows though. Sound design I'll approve of. It fits the creepy game pretty well. Going over to my likes and dislikes, like 1. The game is scary as shit. There was moments where I paused the game and I couldn't play. I had to wait to like work up the courage to play again. Yeah, it's a scary game. Going over to my dislike, my single dislike. There's no stat screen in this game. What I mean by this is there's a lot of achievements based on getting all the collectibles in each level, using every single weapon at least once in combat, stuff like that. A stat screen would have been perfect for that, but they don't show you one. It gets a little shitty. Whatever though. Getting over to my overview. Alright, so I think this story, it's an interesting one. You know, it involves serial killers and fucking basically evil incarnate. It's just pure evil. It takes over people. I don't know if it's like metaphorically or what, but later in the game you start fighting evil itself pretty much. I think it could have had a little more character interaction though. Gameplay, it was really unique. I haven't really played a game like this. It's definitely something a survival horror game should be on the next gen consoles, and honestly, ever since this game, I haven't played a survival horror game this good. At least one that makes you pretty nervous. Relies a lot on jump shots and, like, seriously, you'll be walking down an empty hallway and an enemy will just randomly run down the hallway at you, and it's really unnerving. The sound, I think it complements the game perfectly. I think it's good that they didn't really focus on music or anything like that. Just worked on the ambience. It's a good game. $5 at GameStop. You gotta buy this game. There's no reason not to. It's easy achievements. It's a really unique game. It's a really fun game. Just be aware if you play this game. Try to talk to somebody while playing it because it's pretty creepy stuff.